What's up with it? What's up with it? For y'all real football fans, y'all know that's the Monday Night Football theme music. Whatever. So on this edition of Sports Talk with Rod, we'll be doing the NFL Week 1 recap. So without further delay, first things first. How about them motherfucking Cowboys? Okay, I'm gonna get this out the way because I'm not the typical Cowboys fan, delusional. We're gonna win the Super Bowl every year, blah blah blah, all that shit. I'm not that. Realistically, we expect to beat the Giants. We expect to beat everybody in our division for the past few years. The only people that's been giving us some static are the Eagles, especially last year. So, like I said, what happened with the Giants, we expect to beat them. That's not anything. Before last year, we had one of the weakest divisions or whatever. Now, we one of the top ones. We had 3 teams go to the playoffs last year. So, things I'll be going over, the majority of the scores. I'll be really diving into, the bigger games or the bigger teams, people were really concerned about. So, we're doing Cowboys, Giants first. I'll be looking into the 49ers game. There was an upset game, the Seahawks and the Rams. I'll be diving into that. That was very surprising. Very surprising. I will be doing the Chargers and Dolphins, diving into that too. Everybody want to hear Tyreek Hill and Tua, Waddle, Justin Herbert, everybody over there. So let's get into it. So for one, the Cowboys defense played lights out. No matter who they were playing, I've never seen a defense play that well. Daniel Jones couldn't even get a pass off. That is crazy. You want to hear? You can tell from watching it, but let's look into the stats. Okay. Daniel Jones had 28 pass attempts. Out of those 28 pass attempts, he was hit 12 times and was sacked 7 times. So that is a total of 19 hits on the quarterback. You get hit 19 times out of 28 attempts. That is crazy. I know no one expects to win the game. That is outrageous. So just for me to do the little quick math, I ain't gonna say it like I'm doing it in my head. So out of 28 attempts, he was hit 19 times. What's the percentage of that? He was hit 67% of the times. Broke all the way down. That's 2 out of 3 times he passing the ball, he getting hit. That's crazy. That is crazy. So, yeah, that's great. On the Cowboys end, we jumped off to a great start. We had we returned a kick for a touchdown. And I'm not surprised by this because I missed this because I was looking at a potential house that I'm going to get. I kind of wonder why the score was 6-0, right? If you're a real Cowboys fan, I've been Cowboys fan since 2003. You know we can't do everything right. So we got the score, blocked the kick. We gonna miss the extra point. I don't care who the kicker is. We gonna miss the extra point. Luckily, that was the worst thing of the night. So, that's just some Cowboy stuff or whatever. What else? Okay. Gilmore had an interception, as expected. We got another lockdown corner to go with Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon didn't have a pick, but nobody really gave up any yards. I think there was a play he did give up some yards on. It was a catch and run. He called it to the receiver, poked the ball out. You know, we got it back. Another turnover that we had, that was good. So, you know, we moving in all aspects. The underlying thing is, before I get to that point, we ended up returning. It basically was a fumble, but it didn't hit the ground. I forgot which one of our corners hit Saquon. Ball popped up in the air. Bland, our slot corner number 26, he took it out the air, returned it back. So, you know, that's already 13 points out of 30, not out of 40 we scored, right? So, you know, the offense, I felt still was lackluster because Dak was, what was Dak? Dak's stats wasn't that good. I think he passed for less than 150 yards on 13 completions. I know one of those completions was on the third down. Oh shit, cut this shit off. I know one of those completions was on the third down. Let me see. To the tight end on like a little out route, so that wasn't on Dak. But Dak still wasn't. He wasn't as accurate as he's supposed to be. I do feel he will have a better year because even as one of the commentators pointed out, even one of the commentators pointed out that with the change to the offensive coordinator Kellen Moore leaving, they said that he will. You know, start taking checkdowns more, the first receivers that's open. And that makes a lot of sense compared to how he was playing the past couple years, because it's always looking like he's wanting to take the deep shot and just missing receivers that's open. I don't know what idea this came from or whatever for him, you not taking, you know, open receivers and things like that, because even Tom Brady is great because he keeps the ball moving downfield. He takes the check downs, things like that. If there's a deep shot, he gonna take it. But you don't look for the deep shot and the deep play every time. You take what's there. Take what the defense is giving to you. So I can see that in Dak's progressions that he was, you know, taking the check down more and things like that. Tony Pollard. He played all right, but I can see some trouble on the horizon, especially in our goal line sets. When he was running the ball up the middle, they was hitting him. I'm not liking that. He's not that big of a back. We got spoiled with Zeke. Zeke's going to get that ball in, you know, 1 or 2 tries, and probably not going to take too much off his body or whatever. But Pollard, I see those hits already taking a toll. If he's not going to the outside, it's gonna be some trouble. So I think we're gonna have to pick up a bigger back. We don't have any big backs, so that might be a little issue. Other than that, you know, they was moving around Turpin. They had him in the backfield some, and he dropped some passes too. Brandon Cooks is a good addition. It gives us a deep threat. He still got some speed. Late in the first quarter, he got like a defensive pass interference call. That's good. It takes some attention off of CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb had he had 4 catches for like 77 yards. That was okay. We really didn't need him much. Our defense held Barkley to 51 yards. Daniel Jones had 104 yards passing. That's crazy. But look, even on the other end, Dak was 13 for 24, 143 yards, no touchdowns. So we really didn't need him that much. But he really didn't play that well in the time that he needed. in the time that he had either. So, like I said, it looked good on paper, but we'll get our first big test next week because we're playing. I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm gonna say we, because we playing the Jets next week. You know, Aaron Rodgers, and he had some weapons over there, so we gonna see how it goes over there. The next game I'll be touching into is the Steelers and the 49ers. I didn't expect much from this game, and I got even less. The Steelers, they're in a rebuild since even when Ben Roethlisberger left, they was on a downward spiral already. So McCaffrey had a great game. He had 22 carries, 150 yards, and 1 touchdown. One of those big plays came early in the third quarter. He had a 65-yard run, broke a tackle, hit the sideline. After that, the 49ers didn't look back at all. Brock Purdy, he played a good, efficient game. He was 19 for 29, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. Surprise that came from that game was Brandon Ayuk. He had 8 catches, 120 yards, 129 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Didn't expect that from him. He's a good receiver. Deebo Samuel's a good receiver. But, most people expect, the big yards to come from, Kittle, their tight end. They're just a great team. They had 5 sacks. Their defense had 5 sacks on Pickett. Pickett was, he was 31 for 46, 230 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He did a good job of distributing the ball. I saw there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players with catches. Downward side of that is Najee Harris only had 6 carries for 30 yards and 2 catches for 2 yards. If they expect to even be in any games, Najee Harris has to run for about 100 yards and has to be a receiving threat out the backfield too. So, what else? Oh, the Chargers and the Dolphins game. The headliners in that game is Tyreek Hill, Waddle, Justin Herbert. Tyreek Hill, before this season, said that he wanted to was going to receive for more than 2,000 yards. He got close last year. We've had receivers get close already. Megatron, Calvin Johnson, he had 1,800 yards a while back. And now that they got an extra game, Tyreek Hill, I believe he had 1,900 yards last year or whatever. So, like I said, it's within reach. Tua was kind of shaky. He had a couple fumble snaps. He was 28 for 45, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tyreek Hill had 11 catches, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. One thing that people aren't pointing out, other than Tua getting hurt a lot, is he underthrows Tyreek Hill very often. Very often. Even on his highlights, you can see him having to turn around for the ball. He did it a few times yesterday. I understand not every quarterback has to have a big arm. But if Tyreek Hill is getting stats like that, imagine if he's not getting underthrown on these deep balls. He's an exceptional talent, a speed demon. So I know in that department that's where he misses Mahomes, because Mahomes he didn't have to slow down for the ball too much. If he did have to slow down and come back for the ball, it was after he's scrambling for 30 yards and then throwing the ball off his back foot and put it up in the air. So at least get it in his area. So let me see. On the other end, Justin Herbert was 23 for 33, 228 yards, 1 touchdown. They only lost They lost 34-36. Allen had a good game receiving. Austin Eckler. It was an interesting situation going on with their running backs. Austin Eckler led the league in touchdowns last year as far as running backs, and he was in a little contract dispute. He didn't even start the game. That was interesting. I think the NFL is trying to make a point with these running backs. They're trying to, settle them down, not get out of line or whatever, things like that. That was just weird to see that one of your top players isn't getting the ball all that much. Let me see. So Mostert for the Dolphins, he had only 37 yards rushing or whatever, but I can tell he added a lot of power. He's a speed running back. I think he's gonna have a good season. Waddle, he had 4 catches, 78 yards. He was a big play threat still, even though he didn't score. There's a receiver that they have, Craycraft. He scored 2 touchdowns, I believe. Oh no, he had 1 touchdown and he dropped another touchdown in the end zone. So, the game was close all game. Austin Eckler still had 16 carries for 117 yards. The running back that he had started had 16 carries for 91 yards. So the formula still works, even though it was odd. Kelly had a touchdown. Eckler had a touchdown, so that's great. Keenan Allen had 6 catches for 76 yards. Eckler also had 4 catches for 47 yards. So that was good too. So he went over 100 yards from scrimmage. So, fourth quarter, the Dolphins, they just scored, missed the extra point. So not only did the Chargers keep them in the game, that kept them to only needing a field goal, not just to tie the game, but to win. The Chargers got the ball back with like a minute left. Justin Herbert, 3 plays in a row, could barely even get the ball off. The D-line went crazy for the Dolphins. Wilkins, he ended up getting into him for a sack. And then I think Phillips ended the game on a sack too. So, they squeaked out of there with that one. 36-34. Broncos and the Raiders. The game wasn't that, big on the radar. The Raiders won 17-16. Russell Wilson didn't look good. I don't know what happened since he left the Seahawks. He just don't look the same. His numbers were... Where is... One second. Okay, here we go. His numbers were... Okay, let's do it like this. Sorry, some of my notes get mixed around. Alright, his numbers was 27 for 34, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's not going to cut it. Not even playing the Raiders, that's not going to cut it. Jimmy Garoppolo, he was very efficient. You can say whatever we want to say about Jimmy Garoppolo, but he's going to take care of the ball. He was able to, to move around in the pocket. He was able to find his receivers that were open. Jacoby Myers is the new wide receiver that they got from the Patriots. He had 2 touchdowns, and he was just a nuisance for the Broncos the whole game. Whether he was making a catch or not, he was able to get pass interference calls. I remember late in the game, he caught a ball on 3rd down. They were like 2 or 3 yards short. He drew a flag on the Broncos safety, Kareem Jackson, or whatever, so that kept the drive going. And once again, Garoppolo made a good play. It was coming down to, it was about to be 2-minute warning. They're up by 1 point, 17-16. If the Broncos hold them to a field goal, they have a chance to get the ball back and win the game. It was a 3rd and 7. Garoppolo was able to move around and scramble for the first down. So, the Raiders didn't show me anything spectacular, but, they was able to pull that game off. I'm not looking to see much from the Broncos this year. I just don't know what's going on with Russell Wilson. A couple of bright spots for them. Samaje Perine, their running back. He had a few catches, 37 yards, and a couple carries with 41 yards. He was able to pound the ball and things like that, and give them a little diversity to their offense. Let me see. Okay. So the other games that went on yesterday were the Titans and the Saints. The Saints won a close game, 16-15. Surprises from that game was Derrick Henry was held under 100 yards, which you don't hear often. Definitely don't hear that often. He hurt me on my little on my prize picks. He didn't. Let me see if he scored. He didn't even score. Yeah, he didn't even score. He had 15 carries, 63 yards, no touchdowns. Their rookie running back, Spears from Tulane, he was playing a lot. Every third down, he was in the game. I don't know if that's good or bad. I know why he's in the game, because he's more of a receiving running back than Derrick Henry is. But Derrick Henry being on the field poses a threat no matter what. Derrick Henry had a couple screen passes that he only broke big. He had 2 catches for 56 yards. So, I mean, you got to leave him in the game. I guess it got as bad to where other people was even paying attention, and the coach had to come out and say after the game that Derrick Henry is still a big part of their offense. So if reporters have to ask you what's going on with Derrick Henry and stuff, that means you're not doing a good job. I would give him the ball as much as possible. Tannehill, he's just not a quarterback that you can rely on for a win. He's been showing this for a while. He's more of a game manager, like Alex Smith used to talk about. I mean, how they used to talk about with Alex Smith. He don't have a big arm, but he can move the ball downfield, and it's gonna, take care of the ball. But if you have to rely on him to win the game, it's not gonna happen. So once again, with him, he was 16 for 34, 198 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You're not gonna cut it. That's not gonna cut it. So on the Saints, Derek Carr, I think that's a quarterback you can win with. He's mobile. He can light them up downfield. He's gonna take care of the ball for the most part. He still will make the occasional interception. He was 23 for 33, 305 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Alvin Kamara, he didn't play. He suspended the first 4 games of the season for the incident he got into. So, of course, their run game is going to take a hit. Jamal Williams had 18 carries for 45 yards. He's more of a power goal line back, so I wasn't expecting much from him. But that's even less. Their rookie from last year, Rashid Shaheed, he's a wide receiver. He was able to make some big plays. They got him on a couple wide receiver end arounds for late in the game. That helps them get their little first downs and keep the ball moving. And he made a big play on the 3rd down that prevented Tennessee from getting the ball back with more time left in the 4th quarter when it was a 1-point game. He made a catch down the sideline. Let me see. Yeah, it was a 41-yard catch down the sideline or whatever. He went out of bounds, though. He had 5 catches, 89 yards. Chris Olave, They speed receiver from Ohio State last year. He was a rookie. This is his second year. He had 8 catches, 112 yards. He's going to be a big play machine for them. He got hurt last year, or he was going to end his season over 1,000 yards. Michael Thomas, he's finally healthy. He had 5 catches for 60 yards, so he coming along slowly. Other than that, the game was kind of underwhelming. Another shaky part in the game was Tennessee was trying to run the ball out. Jamal Williams, he usually doesn't fumble. Tennessee cornerback was able to punch the ball out, but they was able to jump back on it, or that would have gave Tennessee the ball down by 1 point with a minute left in the fourth quarter. So other than that, some quick little rundowns of the rest of the scores. The Buccaneers beat the Vikings 20-17. I wasn't surprised. Justin Jefferson went over 150 yards on 9 catches. Their rookie Addison from USC, he had a touchdown as well. Baker Mayfield had a decent game, 21 for 34, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins lit him up. I guess a lot of that, was on Justin Jefferson. He had 33. He was 33 for 44, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Mike Evans had 6 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. So that was a good game. The Commanders beat the Cardinals. Kyler Murray's not playing, so I don't expect much from the Cardinals. The Eagles and the Patriots was in a closer game than I expected. A lot of teams was dealing with, bad weather. This was another bad weather game. Darius Slay had an interception for a touchdown. Jalen Hurts, he was 22 for 33, 170 yards, 1 touchdown. Mac Jones, he played a surprisingly good game. He was 35 for 54, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ezekiel Elliott, that came from the Cowboys, he played a little bit. He had a fumble loss. He didn't do much. A.J. Brown for the Eagles, he had 7 catches, 79 yards. Good receiver, decent receiver for New England was Bourne. He had 6 catches, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't think New England going to win a lot of games, but I think they're going to surprise people. I really like their running back, Stevenson. He can get them some good yards up the middle, run to the outside, and he's also a good receiving back. Let me see. So the Patriots had a chance to win the game at the end. It was on a 4th down. They went for it. They was able to find the rookie receiver Boutte from LSU. Pass on the sideline. He wasn't able to get the 2nd foot down. It would have been like on the 12-yard line. They could have potentially been in position to win the game. He was out of bounds. So, the Eagles pulled it off 25-20. Another game, that wasn't all that. The Ravens beat the Texans 25-9. Let me see. Wasn't expecting much from that game. The Falcons and the Panthers played. Let me see. The Falcons won 24-10. Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas, he had his first receiving touchdown. And when I say he shook about 2 people and broke a tackle, it looked so nasty. So I'm expecting him to have a big year. He had like 50 rushing yards, 40-something receiving yards. So, they're keeping him balanced. He's going to touch the ball a lot, so that's good. Bryce Young played in that game. He was 20 for 38, 146 yards. That's not that good. He threw 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. So he's going to be a work in progress. Um, I'm thinking he might have injury issues like Tua did, because he's even smaller than Tua is, um, especially weight wise. So if those D linemen able to grab him and slam him, he might have concussion issues too. Hopefully not though. Not too much came from this game. Ritter, the Falcons quarterback, was 15 for 18. They didn't pass the ball much, 115 yards, but he took care of the ball. 1 touchdown. I feel they would be very run heavy, and quick throws and things like that, and getting the ball to their tight end Pitts. He had 2 catches, 44 yards, no touchdowns. They won very convincingly. Jaguars and the Colts. Trevor Lawrence played a good game. He was 24 for 32, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I like their receivers that they have. They had a good receiving crew last year, and then they got even better since Calvin Ridley. Speaking of the Falcons, he was a great wide receiver for the Falcons. He got suspended last year because he was betting on games or whatever, but he came back. In his first game back, he had 8 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. I expect big numbers from him. Their tight end Ingram, he got way more consistent than what he used to be playing for the Giants. ETN, their running back, had 18 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown. He sealed the game later with a big run. I'm expecting him to be another 1,000-yard back for them. Anthony Richardson, he is definitely a project. He was 24 for 37, 223 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And he also had 10 carries for 40 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Late in the fourth quarter, they were up, and he threw an interception that put the Jaguars back in position to, score a touchdown and turn the game. He's going to make mistakes. He took care of the ball fairly well the majority of the game. But if you can't take care of the ball in the fourth quarter and the game is close, y'all not going to win too many games. Another note from this game is Jonathan Taylor, former 2,000-yard back. He didn't play. He's having contract disputes or whatever, so that's another change. Michael Pittman, he had eight catches, 97 yards, and 1 touchdown. He's going to be a big receiver for them. And the Jaguars won 31-21. The game was closer than the score, actually tells. There was like a fumble return that the Jaguars ended up picking up early in the fourth quarter that turned the game around too. So, the score doesn't really tell everything. Based off that game, the Colts, they might be close in a lot of games. I just don't see them winning a lot. Another upset, the Browns beat the Bengals convincingly, 24-3. This is a surprise. Burrow just became one of the highest, became the highest paid quarterback as expected. And they went out and laid an egg. They had bad weather conditions too. But the Browns also was in bad weather conditions too or whatever. So no telling how another game between them might go. Justin Burrow was 14 for 31, 82 yards. Deshaun Watson was 16 for 29, 150 yards, touchdown, interception. Nick Chubb, as expected, 18 carries, 106 yards. Like I said, the Bengals just couldn't move the ball. In bad weather games, more than likely the team with the best running game is going to win that game. And of course, Nick Chubb did what Nick Chubb does. He's going to go over 100 yards and they're going to take care of business. Ward, the cornerback for the Browns, did a great job. He was guarding Jamar Chase, the majority of the game. Chase only ended up having 5 catches for 39 yards. Yeah, if you want to win, you need more plays than that. Like I said, and Burrow was never even able to put the ball in the air. He had 82 yards passing. That's crazy. That is crazy. So, with that being said, this has been Sports Talk with Rod. I will be doing this every Monday before the Monday night game. Tonight's game will be the Jets and the Bills. Should be a good game. I'm expecting the Jets to win this game, not just because Aaron Rodgers. The Jets defense were highly ranked last year. Really, to tell the truth, the only reason why they lost as many games they did because they didn't have a quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers had plenty of receivers over there now. They have great running backs, especially with what's his name? Dalvin Cook being over there. I expect him to win. So, yep, that's what it is. So, I'll see y'all again next Sunday. And y'all enjoy these games. There you go. Until next time.